I have so much that I want to talk to you about around happiness, and I am a student of happiness. I think it is a long journey because you're human, right? You evolve, there's challenges in life, and we are like, you can and will feel the duality of happiness along with other emotions. And some emotions we don't love, right? Like they don't feel so great. And then there's emotions like joy and excitement and happiness and peace that feel incredible, like truly, truly feel so good. And there's like temporary happiness, right? Where you like eat a cookie and you're like, oh, that felt delicious. And you have like a moment of happiness. And then there's like deep rooted, unshakable happiness. And that's what I think all humans are searching for. And we sometimes look for like the quick wins that put the band-aids on, and we really, really actually desire the unshakable, true, deep happiness, and that looks different. And I believe happiness is an inside job, and it is so important that we seek it and we really embody being happier, because we only have one life. And one of my favorite all-time books is The Comfort Zone. And she even talks about, Kristen, the author in the book, of no one gets to the end of their life and goes, you know what? I should have worked more, right? I should have worked more. And I think the biggest scam of all time is people working until they, retire and they're way older, and equally you having just a few hours a day with your kids until they're 18, right? Because of work and school and all of the things. Like, so when we really think about it, like, does life need to be that way? Are you happy with it being that way? There's other opportunities out there if it would make you happier. And when people are in jobs that they don't love, I do understand it. And also there is a way for you to be happier in that job and or seek a new job and equally make your own money. And we really get to look at your happiness as the top priority, because when we prioritize your happiness more than you've ever prioritized it, you're going to get different results. You're going to feel different and you're going to get different results. And before I go too far, I want to give a glorious shout out to our episode sponsor of the day, which is Kristen Rourke. If you don't know about Kristen Rourke, I talk about her a lot because she is a huge sponsor of the Wealthy Mama movement and just an amazing human. So she's easy to talk about. And I am so grateful for her sponsoring today's episode. She is all about health and well-being for busy moms. And I really do believe you take advantage of her health chat. It is complimentary. If you are watching video, you can comment healthy. If you're listening on our podcast, all of her information will be below, so you can book a call with her. And I absolutely know our happiness, and I know Kristen knows this too, is directly tied to our health. Like, you cannot not take care of yourself from a health and well-being and be truly, genuinely, deep-rooted happy. So it's not necessarily we're chasing a six-pack or chasing losing a certain amount of weight, but you taking care of yourself, getting enough sleep, getting enough water, right? Meditation, visualization, food, all of the things absolutely impacts your happiness on the deepest level. And the message that's coming through for me is really telling you and reminding you, not even telling you, because I'm just here to be your friend. I'm not your parent. I don't want to be your parent. I'm just here to be your friend. So I'm not telling you. I'm here to remind you, because I know you know this just as much as I know this. The basics work. Hands down, with anything, especially happiness. Are we getting enough sleep? Are we not stuffing your calendar? Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough water? Are you getting your body moving? It doesn't even have to be anything intense, but all of these things are very basic. Getting out in nature, right? Meditating, and we don't have to be perfect. Perfection does not even exist. However, the basics do work, and I feel like we just glaze over the basics when it comes to business and happiness and all of the things, and we forget they work. They're simple. They're easy. And again, they work. And when we really do them more, they're going to work more. I think we want to pretend that there's something that we're missing. There's something that someone else has, right? Because they're so happy or they're making so much money. And you're like, surely they have like a rich husband, or surely they have all the hours in the day to work out. And really, more likely than not, it's habits, routine, focus, right? Like commitment, doing the basics. They may be doing some extra like frilly things, but more often than not, the people that you see that have something that you want are doing the basics, and they're doing them more often than they're not doing them. And we like some reason in our brain, we want to think that it's something like a secret, right? Well, this is the secret. This is the secret. I guarantee you, whether it's making more money, becoming happier, if you just made this the focus for the next 2 weeks, you would be happier. You would make more money. You do not need to go seek the secret. This is the secret. It's right here. Do the basics. Pour into yourself. Like if you had an empty cup and there was nothing in it, there's nothing going to be poured out, right? Like there's nothing to give. Now, when we take the empty cup and we start to fill it, right? Sleep, meditation, journaling, decluttering your home, right? Like when we really just start to fill you up, before you know it, it's 2 weeks later and you've got this massive jug that is overflowing that then starts to positively impact every other aspect of your life. You've got more endorphins and energy to get on Facebook Live. You have more energy to go pursue people that you want to work with, right? You have more energy to smile at strangers, to start up conversations. And it can happen that fast. Like even within that 2 week frame, you would absolutely start to feel better and see your life transform within the 2 weeks. Like this is the secret. Again, we do not have to be perfect. The more and more I personally declutter our home, eliminate bills, live off cash, get sleep anytime I can, even with a baby that doesn't love to sleep right now. Like I'm just doing what I can and prioritizing it more and more and more. I have so many moments like that I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, I just feel so happy. Like I just feel so happy. And you can't put a price tag on that. I have said no so much more than I've said yes, even in the last, I would say, month. And everything keeps compounding that I'm doing to the point where like no one noticed in the beginning, like I did it for me, but now people are noticing. Like I can feel it. Other people can feel it. And now it's this beautiful compound effect, this momentum that's happening that I'm like, I never want to go back. Like I never want to go back. I want to feel this more and more and more. It's impacting my marriage. It's impacting my kids. It's impacting our finances in the best way possible. It's impacting my business, my team, everything. And it's nothing exciting or magical, to be completely honest. It's really saying, you know what? I don't want as much stuff in our home. Let me take action. You know what? I get to drink more water. I get to up my game. I need more sleep. I want more sleep. I just keep going and going and going and going in a way that feels good, but like truly filling up the cup, filling up my cup, taking care of me, taking care of my family more than I ever have before. Like, I've always done what I needed to do, but there's a difference between just checking a box and like really taking it so seriously, like really like upping your game. If you know you can do better and we're not doing better, I really genuinely feel like we start to live out of alignment. Like, you know what you're capable of, you know your standards, you know your values, you know what's important to you. And so when we are just checking a box and and getting by, it doesn't feel that great, because we know internally what we are capable of, what we desire. And there's always going to be a delayed moment. There's always going to, I call it lag time. A lot of people in my space call it delayed gratification. I like to call it lag time, because there's just this, like, there will be lag time. Now, lag time may be shorter or longer, but there's always going to be this lag time. And when we live in such an instant gratification world, lag time, delayed gratification, is really hard for us. And I get that, because our whole world is not that way. And also, when we know this, we can play a better game. So I want you to start pretending, okay? Because when we like pretend, it's different. Like, it's kind of fun and light. So I want you to start pretending that you are in a game called happiness. And if you're competitive like me, you'll want to win, right? You are in the game of happiness. And the only way to win the game is to go through the board, like think of Candyland, and move step by step by step by step. And really understand how you get to the next step of the board, right? In the game is, what's the next thing that's going to make you happy, right? Like, what's the next thing that will make you feel calmer, more excited, more at peace, right? More joy, more excitement. These are emotions that we want to feel more of. Like, no one's going to be like, you know what? I don't want to feel more peace. No, I have enough excitement in my life. I don't need more. Or fun. Like, no, I've had too much fun. I don't want to have any more fun. Like, I can't think of anyone that would say something like that, right? Like, we want to feel these things more. We want to experience these things more. And once you start playing your happiness game, right? Like, you're in the game, you can do it. You literally can do it. It literally is all you. It's all you. When it is an internal job, right? Happiness is an internal job. You can literally decide right here and right now, when you're watching this video or listening to this audio, that, you know what? I'm going to get in the game of happiness. I am going to pursue happiness like I've never pursued it more. I want more peace. I want more fun. I want more excitement. I want more happiness. I want more joy. I want more ease. Yes, 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 yes. Now you're in the game. You already moved one step by you deciding that you want it, deciding that you're going to commit and be in the game, right? You're now in the game. And every step that you take is getting you closer and closer and closer to the deep-rooted happiness that you deserve to feel. Again, life is so freaking short. No one gets to the end of their life going, I wish I would have worked more. I wish I would have had more things on my calendar. I wish I would have had more shit in my house. Sorry for cussing. I'm trying to be more mindful of cussing because I know kids watch me. So a lot of stuff in your house, right? You have so many gifts, so much knowledge inside your brain that can make you millions of dollars. And I can believe it all day, every day. I can help you get there. I can literally give you the roadmap, cheer you on, support you, hold you accountable, but it's still an internal job. And I know, like Elwood says, like, endorphins makes you happy. And happy people just don't kill their husbands. And it's so much like that, because when you take care of you. So my online journey, like my online business, actually started from pursuing happiness. It's the most beautiful journey in the beginning. Like, it did not start as I want to make money. I wanted to feel better. And I started pursuing happiness. And I am here speaking to you right now because I decided I was worth it. Not I wanted to make a lot of money, not I'm going to do this for everyone else. I finally, for the first time, fully put myself first and did not stop. Like, did not self-sabotage, did not stop, kept going, kept, failing forward, learning, growing, but I didn't stop. And even when you have those moments of failure or things are taking long, when you finally decide that you're not going to give up, you will radically change your whole entire life. So I'm going to take you back in time real quick of that moment, because it started as I want to love myself more. I want to be truly, deeply happy. And I started doing videos sharing and supporting a lot like what this is. I've been doing this for a very long time, and it started just wanting to love myself, and then I was willing to start sharing it, but there was no cheeky business plan or being salesy or anything like that. And I think genuinely people could feel, wow, this girl is doing something cool. And then people started asking me, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, they want help. Okay, I'm willing to help. I'm a helper. And so I've just always looked at this journey as helping, supporting, loving. I genuinely feel so much more comfortable just being your BFF on this journey than your coach or your mentor. Those are fancy terms. People call me those things, and that's totally okay if that feels good to them. But I've just really embodied, I'm truly just here to be your friend and cheer you on and support you and love on you and give you, anything that I can to help you on your journey. And so it started from just such a loving place. I guarantee you pursue your happiness more than you ever have in the next 2 weeks, then the next 30 days, then the next 60 days and 90 days. And before you know it, 6 months goes by, you will be unrecognizable. You will attract everything that you've wanted. It may not be here yet because things take time to change and rearrange and the universe to catch up with you, but you will feel them coming your way. You will feel that deep-rooted happiness. You'll look in the mirror and be like, dang, look at you, girl, right? Look at you go. You will feel better in your skin. You will walk into rooms so much more authentically confident. You will start to get on video. People will start asking you how they can do what you're doing. And you're like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go, right? Do this for yourself, not for tons of money, not for your significant other, not for anyone else but yourself. When I ran the half marathon last year, it felt a lot like the beginning of my journey because I signed up for that for me. No one else technically benefited from me training day after day, me running the race, right? It inspired my my family, my daughter, which is great. That's like an added benefit. But at the end of the day, if I would have not done it, she would have not known anything, right? So like no one benefited from me doing that but myself, but actually everyone did. You know what I mean? Like when I really put myself first, I'm able to fill my cup up and then go back and support people on such a higher level because I'm dialed in. I feel amazing. And we are such energetic beings that when you're depleted, it's really hard to be the best mom that you want to be the visionary of your business, right? To go into your 9 to 5 and crush it, right? Like you can, again, check the box and do your best. And also when you know you can do better, it starts to really weigh on you. And that doesn't feel great either. And then that drains you even more because you're like, right? I want you, just focus on the next 2 weeks. Don't worry about 6 months from now, but I guarantee you will be unrecognizable. When you commit to this and you get into the game of happiness only for you, you will be unrecognizable 6 months from now, which when I am recording this video, that would be mid-June, summertime. That's not a lot of time when you really think about it. So it's like, again, when we really go all in and focus on like one big thing, it creates this domino effect by June, literally unrecognizable, attracting everything that you want, feeling amazing, looking amazing, being amazing. And it's truly authentic and deep. Like you can't fake that stuff. Like maybe for a day, but true, genuine happiness is deep. And since it's deep, it needs to be authentic. It needs to actually be real. And people can really feel it. Like I believe they can feel it. And so I just want you to focus on the next 2 weeks. Don't worry about mid-June or whenever you're listening to this. Just focus on the next 2 weeks. And ask yourself, because you're a smart, intelligent human being. Are we doing all the basics? Are we sleeping more? Water, protein, veggies, right? Are we decluttering your home? Are we, minimizing things on your calendar that don't feel good, right? Like, what can we do in the next 2 weeks to make you feel so much better? And focus on the basics first. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, I want to get my hair done or nails or sign up for therapy. And these are things that are amazing. But when we haven't focused on the basics, we're not building that strong foundation that then even when we add in the therapy or we add in the nails or a massage or any of these things, trust me, I love all of these. But when we skip the basics, and you go to those things, we're only putting a Band-Aid on your happiness. Don't be afraid to go to the basics. Don't be afraid to get to the root because that's where the Band-Aids don't exist. And that is where the lasting, deep-rooted happiness truly lives. And if you are a, people pleaser, when I say you are a people pleaser, I really mean like you have, like I almost like to visualize the people pleaser as like some like a stick figure inside of you, or like a stick figure on like your shoulder or something. That's probably a little bit less weird. Inside of you feels weird, but a stick figure like on your shoulder, like when you're making decisions, like, oh, she's not gonna like that. Meaning like if you take something off your calendar that would benefit you, right? And so we can't make all of our decisions to make everyone else happy. We get to first prioritize your happiness and know that we're not going to make everyone happy. Like you're not chips and guac. You're not a margarita. You're not pizza. some people don't even actually like all of those things. So even tacos are rejected, and chips and guac are rejected, and queso. These are all things I love, but there are people out there that don't love those things. And so those things aren't even making everyone happy. So it is just so much more important that we prioritize your happiness more than we ever have before. Like, imagine if from the time you woke up to the time you went to bed, you prioritized your happiness in every little moment more. And I know that this can be challenging when you've got to get kids out the door, when you have a 9-to-5, when you have clients, right? Like, there are challenges throughout your day that you can't always, control. There's other people that you need to take care of and make happy. And also, it's not an excuse not to prioritize yourself. Like, it's just not. And it's easy for us to step into that because there is truth in it. And also, I want you to challenge that belief, because let's use an example. So let's say it's crazy getting the kids out the door and it's just exhausting. I've been there so many days. And then I started just embracing the mornings. So I don't expect to get anything done for my business before I drop the kids off. And it has relieved so much internal anxiety of just like, you know what? I'm fully mom in the morning, and it is a little cray-cray, and I'm just embracing it as much as I can. And we've gotten in like a really decent rhythm and routine, and just me releasing that expectation from myself has genuinely made me more happy. Like, truly. If you have a 9-to-5 where you have, let's say, a demanding boss, right? Like, your boss is in your office, every 5 minutes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is exhausting. Obviously, you can't necessarily tell your boss certain things because you want to keep your 9-to-5, I'm guessing, at least for right now, right? However, you're still a human being, and we get to set boundaries because I'm going to guess most bosses want their team to be successful. And so they're human too. And they're doing their best just as much as you're doing your best. And as humans, I think we forget to communicate our needs, our wants, our desires. And then we get mad at other people because they're being human, right? And they're doing certain things. And you're like, so cringy, and you're just like, right? Like, my boss keeps coming into my office. So here's a whole new way of being that you could do. Here's some ideas, right? Within your 2-week span that could radically change how you feel at work. One, you could ask your boss if you could work from home 1 or 2 days a week. I know, impossible. Nope, not impossible. And we could ask your boss that, which would give you quiet time to focus and like recharge and not get interrupted. You could also say, hey, I have so much on my plate and I want to be as successful as I can for you and your company. And it would really, really help me if we could do a touch point in the morning where I understand everything that you need, that you want, and I can ask you questions and you can ask me questions, and then we have a wrap up at the end of the day, and then I'm going to focus and close my door, and that would really, really help me focus and be able to just crush it and help you get everything done that you want me to get done for your company, for your vision, for your goals, right? So although you may be cringing inside as you're asking these things, you're cringing inside because we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of the people pleaser on our shoulder, right? Of, oh my gosh, what if they don't like this? What if they say no? And here's the beautiful part. You can co-create together. But until somebody makes the first move, everyone's just doing human things, and it's not fair to somebody that's in your life if we've never communicated to them what would help you. No one is a mind reader. So let's say that you went to your boss, right? And you presented the work from home 1 or 2 days a week. Most people, especially you crushing it at your job, and you again, we don't want to just say, hey, can I work 1 or 2 days a week? Really pitch them on the benefits for you and for them of why you really desire to work 1 or 2 days from home a week, right? I'm just using this as an example. We don't know until we try. I love the saying, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And we're missing swings every single day because we're afraid of what could go wrong. What is that person going to say? The rejection. But here's the beautiful, beautiful part. When you're in the game of happiness, the more swings that you take, you're gonna hit, right? You're going to hit it out of the park. There's gonna be a few home runs. There's gonna be a few that just go so far, and you'll still have the ones that you miss, and that's okay because we're swinging, and you're not holding back. And you can take this at such a slow pace that feels good to you. So we're never, nervous to the point where you're freaking out. I don't want you to the point where you're hyperventilating. That doesn't make any sense. But I guarantee you, if you went to your boss and you made a really good plea, right? You made the best pitch, I guarantee you they would either say, okay, no worries. And you'd be like, what? That was so easy. And it starts immediately. And then the first day that you're working from home, you would have your cup of coffee, right? You'd just be sitting there and you'd be like, oh, I feel so happy. You created it. You created it. If we know that happiness is an internal job, you've got to be speaking up for yourself more and more and more and more. And if you're not willing to do that, then you've got to be okay with how life is. Whatever that means for you. You got to pick. If we know that happiness is an internal job, however your reality is right now, if you're not willing to speak up for yourself, if you're not willing, then you get to be at peace and say, okay, I'm okay with how life is. I'm okay. And if you're like, no, I'm not, then we get to speak up. You get to get in the game of happiness, and you get to make a move, and then make another move, and make another move, and make another move. When we go and focus on your well-being, your happiness, your joy, your excitement, your peace, your energy, you will see every other aspect of your life radically change very quickly, very quickly. So let's say your boss didn't say yes. Maybe they sat there and was like, I'd be willing to have you work 1 day from home, not 2. You'd be like, okay. And then you could, because you're an amazing saleswoman, because you have learned from me, you could say something along the lines, because women get to negotiate more. So you could say something along the lines of, okay, I would love that we get to start with 1 day a week. What would help you feel comfortable that I could work towards working from home 2 days a week? See what they say. Have them give you an answer. Maybe if they can't think of anything right there, then follow up with them and say, hey, I would really love a clear plan of how I could start to work from home 2 days a week. And I would love to work towards that and help us create a win-win together, right? So throughout your whole day, you can create more happiness within yourself and with the people around you in the simplest of ways and the biggest ways too, right? So that was a big example, but as simple as you, today, we went and got cookies after school. It just felt good. That's a very simple, quick dopamine hit, but it felt fun and inviting. And we were all trying the cookies when we got home, and it's a memory. It's an anchored memory. So although it's a quick sugar rush, if you will, it's now anchored in with a family memory that is so important to me. Like those moments are what I live for and make me genuinely so happy. And then I'm just kind of giving you like real time examples. I was rocking Boone to bed tonight, and I don't know if you've ever rocked a baby, but when you rock a baby, like it's like it puts you in this like meditative state. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm ready for bed. And so I just like laid there way longer by choice, cuddling my baby. He'll still be my baby when he's 18. Cuddling my baby. I just won't be able to lay him on top of me, but cuddling my baby, enjoying that moment, dozing off, right? And then, you know, tucking him in. And then I laid in bed until my husband found me. He was like, I see you hiding out. I was like, dang it. And so, but I just laid in bed, like didn't scroll on social media. I just closed my eyes. I wasn't like falling asleep, but I just laid there, and it just felt so good. It felt so good. So I have tons more ideas. I was even thinking today, I would love to put together like an on-demand email series for you. This is not a pitch by any means, but I was like, I would love to like create a like email series of helping you do this, because it does take more time and effort and focus in the beginning, because you've been in a certain way of being, right? Like maybe it feels like Groundhog's Day to you right now. Maybe you're just going through the motions, trying to get through the day and the week, and you're living, you know, paycheck to paycheck or task to task, right? Or, you know, meeting after meeting. It's so easy to get in the rut of life versus the joy and happiness of life. And you can have more of it literally so quickly by you just being more intentional and deciding that you want it and asking yourself, like, what would feel good? And then you're going to start to see that cup really fill up. And that's when the journey gets very juicy, like amazingly juicy. The things that I have been able to accomplish in the last few years are absolutely deeply connected to that woman years ago that said, you know what, I just want to feel better. Like I just want to feel better for myself. And I started to lose weight. I started to clear my skin. I started to have so much energy, so much deep, authentic confidence that, wouldn't you know it, oh my gosh, I started to have more energy and excitement that everything else around me just started to flourish, like flourish. And there is no right time for this. Like Boone is still not sleeping through the night, right? Like I've had, you know, I have like a breakout right here. Like life is never going to be perfect. There's never going to be a perfect time, but the one that you decide. And I believe you are listening to this for a reason, because most people don't waste their time. And I believe you are listening to this for the most powerful reason that you already know. Like you are a smart human being. You know that you want to feel more happiness, that you want to create more happiness, that you know that there's more for you. And maybe you haven't been able to put your finger on what it is or how you're going to get it, right? Air quotes around get it. You are, I say this all the time, and I fully, wholeheartedly believe it. You are the strategy. You are the strategy. Like we can throw on, you know, other fancy things, but none of them fully work the way that they need to, whether it's business strategies or career strategies or even health and fitness strategies, unless you are really taking care of you at the basic level first. Like truly Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like go to the basic stuff first. Clear the way. Get yourself so dialed in, then start adding and layering everything else. And it'll be so interesting the more you lean into this process that you'll know your next move. You'll know your next move. You'll know your next move over and over and over again. And when we just take care of you, everything will fall into place. And you may not fully believe that yet, but just give me 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks of you pouring into yourself more, and then check back in with me and be like, okay, now I believe you. Like, now I believe you. And what would be so cool, even if you just did this for yourself, record videos of you throughout the 2-week experiment and journal about it just in a 2-week time frame. That's a short amount of time. 14 days. Like, can you imagine we speed forward 14 days from now and you're like, oh my gosh, Nellie, like, I feel so powerful, so excited, so at peace, so connected, right? What are you desiring? I guarantee you we can create more of it in 14 days by you just deciding to focus on it and then taking move after move after move after move. So the email series that I'm thinking of would help, one, give you the oomph that you need in the beginning to like get that momentum. I really believe once a woman has the momentum, she really is unstoppable. Before the momentum kicks in, we're like in our own heads. We're questioning the journey. We're questioning ourselves. We take 2 steps forwards and then we take 10 steps back. So it's like so many women live in the pre-momentum and they stay there. It's kind of like a sticky space where it's, if you stay there for too long, then it starts to feel like quicksand where you're like, I'm never getting out of here. But like, that's why I like the 2 weeks, because it's enough time, but not long enough where we just delay and delay and delay, right? So it's enough time where we start to get that oomph, right? We start to get that momentum. And I call this your tipping point. And you'll have multiple tipping points on your journey, but we need that first tipping point that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in, right? Like it's like creating the proof that your brain really needs. Like, I can give you so much proof from me or other people, but it'll be enough for you to like start, and then you'll kind of be like faith in it till you make it. And then once we get you to that like tipping point, your first or next tipping point, it's truly the evidence that your brain needed to fully like anchor in and be like, okay, now I really believe you. Like, I kind of believed you before, right? Like, this is your brain talking to yourself. Like, I kind of believed you before, but now I really believe you. So when I went on my first initial happiness journey, it was me losing 8 pounds. Before then, I would only lose like, I yo-yoed so much. I would lose a pound and then gain 2 pounds. I would lose 2 pounds and then I would gain 4 pounds, and I just yo-yoed back and forth. I stayed in that stickiness from like a health and fitness standpoint. And I stayed there for a very long time, like so long, and spent so much money, and it was so frustrating. And maybe you feel like that with your business, where you're like in the stickiness, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I spend so much time on social media. I spend so much time with coaches and mentors and conferences, and you're just like in the stickiness. Focus on that first or next tipping point. That's what your brain needs, whether it's health and fitness, your business, your career, any relationships. We need that first or next tipping point, because your brain is going to keep holding you back. And we, a lot of times, are seeking these outside validations that have lots of benefits. Don't get me wrong. There's tons of benefits, but everything is an internal job. So when we're only seeking those things and not looking inward, that's when we stay in the stickiness. You've got to look inward just as much as you're looking outward. And we forget that. So this is your reminder. Like, you've got to take way more deep responsibility, look inward, be honest with yourself, check in with yourself. And if it's to be, it's up to me. It's like, that is truly like my guiding North Star. It is no one else's job for me to be happy. It's no one else's job to build my business or clean my house. I can enroll support, but like at the end of the day, it's always up to me. And there's so much power in fully stepping into that, and then we're going to take that word back. Creating, because you're taking full responsibility, creating that first or next tipping point. That's when it gets so good, because you crave to get to the next one that you may have some stickiness, you may have some gooiness. I love that word. One of my energy coaches says that, gooiness. But you're not gonna have as much as you did in the one that you were just in, right? And so we collapse time. There's less stickiness. There's less gooiness. Then we get to the next tipping point, right? And then same thing. And we just keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, because you get more comfortable. You crave that next tipping point. You crave what you're feeling, and you don't want it to go away. So it was challenging that first 8 pounds that I had to lose that time. But then I was like, now I know what meals I like. Now I know what the workouts are like. Now I have way more energy, right? And so it was still hard in those first 2 weeks. And it really was 2 weeks. That's so cool when I really think about it. I didn't even think about that when I told you the 2 weeks. It was that first 2 weeks. And then I was totally sold, right? And the goal wasn't 8 pounds either. It was just to start. So be careful of, in that 2 weeks, having a contingency of what the tipping point is, because that's when we can get really in our head. Because let's say you want to focus this strategy on money, and you're like, okay, I want to make $10,000 in the next 2 weeks. I love having a goal. I love having a focus. And also, if the 10,000 doesn't happen within the 2 weeks, you're going to be like, well, brain, I told you, we're just not cut out for this. And you'll have the evidence in a bad way. And we don't want that, because although I love that goal, it's still outside of your control. We don't know when people would pay, right? Maybe you want to get on sales calls for people. They may not be available during those 2 weeks. So what I actually love is to think, if it's that type of goal, then think about something that you know that you have full power in, like doing 20 Facebook Lives during that 2 weeks, or reaching out to X amount of people, or going to X amount of networking events. Those things, yes, thumbs up. You know that you have full control over those things, versus the 10,000 being the goal. You'll probably still get to the 10,000. So if it was like health and fitness, how many workouts, how much in water, those are things that you can control. And so it's setting you up for success from the beginning. So no matter what type of goal that you're focusing on, one, let's always go back to happiness. Let's always go back to the basics. Make sure we've got that so dialed in. And again, you don't have to be perfect. Some days I get more water than not. I'm still getting in a workout routine. I'm running a full marathon this year. So I'm like, all right, girlfriend, you've got to kick it up. And so I'm getting there. But with that being said, I've been focusing on the basics, and that's towards the end of the basics. So us getting so dialed in with our meals, water, as much sleep as we can was so much more needed first. Then I add that in, which I am genuinely very excited about that. So focus so much on the basics over these next 2 weeks, and then let's add in all the extras and really decide what you do want to focus on in those 2 weeks, because if we're just doing all the things, you'll get to the end of the 2 weeks and you'll be like, did I like accomplish what I wanted? So just decide if it is more sleep that would make you like really happy and like nourish your body and like start to fill up your cup, then sleep is the only thing I want you to focus on for the next 2 weeks. You could get a sleep app. You could buy a new pillow. You could do meditations right before you go to bed. You could take sleepy tea or a bath, but like pick one basic thing for the next 2 weeks, and that's all that we focus on. And that will make it very easy for you to stick with, and then also very easy for you to measure, do we feel better? And I guarantee you, especially since you're only focusing on one basic thing, you're going to feel better. If it's water, let's buy a new cup. Let's set alarms on your phone. And I know these are things that sound so basic. However, knowledge is typically not the barrier. There is Google and YouTube and Audible and the library. Like, the library is filled with knowledge, and yet it is a lack of desire and commitment and focus that holds so much of us back. So we really, really want to focus. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, baby girl. Come here. Come here.
I was by myself.
Oh, come here. Come here, come here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry. You fell asleep. And now you're awake. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you want extra accountability with your thing for 2 weeks, you are more than welcome to comment below if you're watching a video. What is your number one thing? Your basic number one thing for the next 2 weeks. And, or if you would be more comfortable, you can also DM me. So I would love to know. I would love to cheer you on. And I guarantee you, even if you're not perfect, because I'm not perfect. Are you perfect?
No.
You almost said yes. Remember, what do we say? We say practice makes, what do we say? Better. That is our saying in our household. Not practice makes perfect, practice makes better. So, play for the next 2 weeks. See how you feel. I would love, love, love to hear how you feel now, that would be before, during, and even at the 2 week mark. And then the beautiful part about that is then, if you know anything about habit stacking, we would just stack the next basic thing the next 2 weeks. And then you keep going and you keep going and keep going. And again, once we get you to that first or next tipping point, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to keep going. This feels so good. And you deserve to feel good, and not just for burst of time, but to consistently feel good. And here's the beautiful part. This is how I started this this episode, is you can absolutely feel amazing and still have challenges. You will have challenges. And I've also noticed through my own experience, when you feel so good, those challenges, those obstacles, those moments of frustration or overwhelm or even anxiety or whatever it is, they don't feel the same. So it's like the duality of like, you will still have challenges. You will still have other emotions that we don't love as much. But when you are so taking care of you, we don't stay there. We don't make it bigger than it needs to be or anything like that. It's just like, okay, I'm feeling, this way, and I don't want to feel this. So what am I going to do about it? Right? Like what would feel good to me? And like, you just start to see every obstacle so differently. And when on the opposite is true, when you're not taking care of yourself, everything feels so heavy, so exhausting, so overwhelming. And a lot of it can absolutely be valid. And also it feels heightened because you are empty. You are empty. And it is very hard to even get through a good day when you're empty, right? And so we just want to take care of you. So I am going to go be mom. They always find me when I hide. They always find me. I'm like a magnet. Do you love mommy? Was that a yes? Yes. Okay, so I would love to know what your number one thing is for the 2-week happiness game. This is just something that we're making up, something that we're feeling into, something that you are going to make a move, and then you're going to make another move, and then you're going to make another move, and then you're going to make another move. And we're just playing, and we're just having fun. There are no rules, which I know can be hard for some people, but you make up the rules as you go. You can change your mind. Maybe for the first few days, it's sleep, but then you're like, I feel really good, and now I'm going to do something else. Cool. Do it. Make up your own rules. And the only rule is you get to feel better. You get to feel happier. You get to feel better. That's the only requirement, the only rule in this game. And you decide how you make that happen. And you just have so much freaking fun. And I guarantee you, you will feel so much better throughout the process and in 2 weeks, and I would love to hear from you. So reach out to Kristen because she will absolutely be able to support you on this journey as well. I'm super, super excited for you. You deserve to feel so much more happiness, and it's coming your way. Just don't block it. Open up your heart. Let it in. This is something that you get to experience deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's already yours. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to work for it. We just get to speak up for ourselves and make a move and make a move and make a move. But this is not a, well, in 2 weeks, then I'll feel better. Or when I leave my job, then I'll feel happier. Or when I make, X amount of money in my business, then I'll feel accomplished or happy or any of those things. You get to feel them now. You get to love your body now. You get to love your business now. You get to love your day job now. You get to love being the mom that you are right now. You get to love your home right now. And also, again, duality of it's okay to desire more. However, we're not placing contingency on your future self as that's only when you're going to feel happiness. The true joy is right here, right now, and then creating more and more of it as you go, that eventually just becomes your new normal, your new reality. And you have 1000% control and power in creating it, no matter where you're at right now. And that may be harder to believe depending on where you're at, but I promise you it is 1000% possible, and it can happen incredibly fast when we decide, and when we make a move and then another move and another move and another move, and there's no wrong move. Tap into yourself. What do you need right now? What do you want? And just see what shows up for you. What do you need right now?
Yes.
You don't need a thing. What makes you happy?
I don't know.
You don't know?
It's taking a long time.
What's taking a long time, honey? Do you want me to be done?
Yes.
Okay. Can we say goodbye? You just want your mama? Okay.